being seen going in and out of hotel rooms. Mr. Hoover does have a way of making people paranoid.
I've never thought the law could have made a mistake. But Hoover does push one's faith beyond reasonable limits.
Have a seat, Reverend. You don't want the couch?
This will do just fine, thank you.
Oh, that's right, I forgot. You're used to sit-ins and such.
I find they're generally better for your back.
Not too good for the head, if I recall. Actually, I'm surprised you still have one with all that nonviolent action you've been involved with.
You'd be amazed how much one can take when the purpose is clear.
Perhaps. But I think some people just naturally have hard heads. When I was in Selma 2 weeks ago, I nearly paid you a visit.
You should have. Plenty of room in the jail.
I try not to visit jails voluntarily.
I heard your speech on my behalf was very moving.
The younger people seem to enjoy it. Matter of fact, if I'd spoken any longer, we all would have come by the jailhouse. Except we wouldn't have been planning on staying. Of course, there wouldn't have been much jail remaining when we left.
Then I should thank you for not speaking too long. Being in jail is unpleasant enough. Having it torn down while you're there is not my idea of how to spend a Sunday afternoon.
You can thank some of your conference planners for that. If it were up to them, I wouldn't have spoken at all. As it was, they spent several hours after I spoke trying to calm the crowd down.
Perhaps they were trying to move them in a different direction.
Calming them down certainly would have done that.
Since you didn't visit me then, I'm visiting you now.
Yes, and I must say, I'm impressed. I didn't think you visited northern cities too often. I imagine our streets are more difficult to maneuver than those country roads you must be accustomed to.
If the road was meant to be traveled, it will be.
And if it's destroyed?
It will be rebuilt. Or else it wasn't the road for us.
Still a dream.
Still a revolutionary.
Thank you.
I didn't realize I paid you a compliment.
Ignorance is sometimes the sincerest form of flattery.
If I didn't know any better, I'd say you were trying to upset me.
A man who allows himself to get hit upside the head certainly wouldn't get upset at some mere words. Would you like some water, Mark?
No, thank you.
Would you like some tea?
I'm fine.
I want you to eat this.
No, thank you. I'm not hungry.
I don't care. I want you to eat it anyway.
I don't want it.
It's good for you.
That may be, but I still don't want it.
What if I make you eat this?
And just how would you do that?
By force, if necessary.
I'd still refuse.
You mean to tell me you would still refuse to eat this apple, even if I resorted to force?
Yes.
Even if it's good for you?
Even then.
Right, Martin. Can't force people to take something they don't want. Try as hard as you can to get white folks to love us. No matter how smooth you make it, the simple fact of the matter is they just won't swallow the truth, even if it's good for them.
Isn't it odd that you should try to tempt me with an apple?
You see the apple as temptation. I see it as nourishment.
We see what we want to see, I suppose.
Some of us don't see anything at all, even if it's staring us right in the face. For example, when you passed by the front of the hotel, did you see a woman standing out front? She was wearing heavy makeup and a short skirt.
A prostitute.
How old would you guess she was?
32, 35.
She's 17, right? Although after 3 years on the streets, age has no real significance. Tomorrow morning, she won't even know how many men she slept with tonight. She can't even tell from the money she makes. Her pimp collects that after each trip. She's part of a larger congregation, but you won't find them in any of your churches. They would curse your God if they were allowed enough to curse. But they're dead, Martin. They're the living dead. They exist because they're accustomed to, and they haven't thought about why they shouldn't. If they weren't so used to moving around from one place to another, never staying in any one place for too long, someone would have come along and swept them away by now.
I take it you have a point to all this?
I know something of the living dead. Young women working the streets in their pimp. When you're around the same people every day, you don't notice the change at first. But then, all of a sudden, you're aware someone is fat, or old, or without hope. The purpose of this, Mark, is to show you the hopeless, and to let you know their numbers are growing every day.
Do you have a solution?
Unity!
I've never been against that.
Your unity is sitting around a campfire while the cross is burning, singing, "We shall overcome." If you really wanted unity, you'd be singing, "We shall come over." Every time there's an injustice, we shall come over. Every time there's a black woman frightened by a white face behind a white hood, we shall come over. Every time and any time there's a need to stop white people from persecuting black people, we shall come over. And we will stay until black people feel safe again.
We also saying, we ain't gonna let nobody turn us around.
It really doesn't matter what the song was. No one ever got their freedom from singing. On the other hand, if you're prepared to do some swing.
Violence, revenge, is that the unity you seek?
I care about survival, Martin. I care about the quality of that survival. No, I don't seek violence. I seek to stop it. And I'll stop it by any means necessary. I have that as a duty.
Violence never stops violence, Malcolm.
But marches do. All those people gathered together singing songs. What did that bring? A piece of legislation.
Yes. Birmingham got us the Civil Rights Bill. Selma will get us the Voters' Rights legislation. Every time we can expose hatred to the world, we come that much closer to making this country live up to what it says on paper.
Did that legislation help those civil rights workers murdered in the South? Or those children blown up in their own churches? You got nothing, Martin. Nothing but a piece of paper and yet another lie that betrayed yet another long list of lies. It's the American lie, the grand white lie. You know, I had a dream tonight.
Oh?
I'm sorry, that's your line.
You may borrow it if you choose.
This dream I had. You and I have both been dead for some time. The time it takes to miseducate the average American. Young black men and women didn't know who we were. They knew nothing of the movement, the struggle. It was as if it had never happened. I have seen my own death countless nights. But that vision has never been as frightening as this dream. We will be sold out, you and I. It may come over a promise for a new job or a deal to become the new leader. It may happen any number of ways, but it will happen. You may even do it to yourself.
And how do you think I will accomplish my own undermining?
Marlon, do you remember saying that we will wear you down with our capacity to suffer? Did you really say that?
You know I said it. And furthermore, you know the context.
The context. The context has got to be insanity.
Is love insane?
No, but we're not talking about love.
Then perhaps you need to re-examine what I said again.
I try not to inflict suffering on myself more than once. I suppose my capacity for that is not as large as yours.
You're not before any cameras now, Malcolm. You have an audience of one, and I'm not cheering. So you can stop with the sarcasm and the flippant remarks.
I don't want any cameras, and I don't need any others.
And I didn't come here to debate you, so you can stop the contest.
The debate is more than a contest, Doctor.
Are you satisfied?
It won't be that easy, Doctor.
Why is it that every time I hear you say doctor or reverend, I get the distinct impression I should feel insulted?
Suppose it's my street accent. Not having had the advantage of university training, my words sometimes appear too harsh.
You're being too modest, Malcolm. It's doubtful Harvard invites someone to lecture who has difficulty being understood.
They didn't bring me there to lecture. They brought me there to be embarrassed. But then, I don't embarrass easily. And since Harvard never had anything I wanted, I never saw any reason to apologize for not having it. Of course, there were an ample number of Negroes there who had an abundance of apologies saved up for just such an
Do
occasion.
you see me as that kind of Negro?
No, but I see you being used by white folks whether you intend to be or not. which is why they'll erect monuments to you before you're through.
I don't know about all that, Malcolm. Seems like the very mention of your name is likely to cause a great deal of attention. They may even name whole cities after you.
You got the award.
Yes. On behalf of all of us. People everywhere who fought against injustice.
White people gave you the award, Martin. Doesn't it worry you just a little bit that the people doing most of the oppressing are handing out all the awards? I think you must have impressed them most when you said, if blood must flow in the streets, let it be ours. Hell, every cracker in the South would have chipped in to buy you an award for that.
The award was for peace, Malcolm.
No, Martin. The award was for getting beaten and not fighting back.
I didn't expect acceptance from you. A little understanding would have been sufficient.
You want me to understand how a black man could ask his own people to be the first, last, and only ones to bleed, to spill their precious blood, let it spill to the pavements of these cities, or sink into the soil of this nation, the nation we helped build. You want me to understand that?
Has it ever occurred to you that perhaps your movement is more responsible for the blood of our people flowing than I? That your speeches are unwittingly causing violence?
No, not once, not ever. Oppression in the name of self-defense is not violence, it's honor. We begin to think for ourselves, to do for ourselves, not let the man shape our values for us. Because he's got some tricky logic. He'll make us think that defending our families is wrong, that protecting the communities is violence. When the music is tango, you tango. Simple as that. If you don't want us to tango, stop playing the music. And then maybe we can waltz all nice and polite. White gloves, black ties.
Don't you think we've made any progress, Malcolm?
Progress. Martin, you got some concessions because I was the alternative. They threw some legislation, some money, and some cracker control programs your way in hopes that nonviolence would win out. Except we were the only ones to remain nonviolent. If they kill me first, you'll have nothing to negotiate with. If they kill you first, they can't let me live. They'll make a martyr out of you, Martin. They'll hold your nonviolent methods up to the world as a testament to your courage. If they hold it up there long enough, they won't even notice the contradiction. You were killed preaching it. We can't learn anything from martyrs anymore, Martin.
Jesus was a martyr.
2,000 years ago, it was possible to die and not kill a movement. Today, it's brought to you in living color, splashed across the big screen and the small, all with the same unrelenting message. When you lead, you die. When you lead, you die. How long will we continue teaching that to our children?
I don't have a martyr complex, Malcolm. I want to live a long life. I want to see my children grow up. I want to do all the things that a father is supposed to do. But if I have to die, so that my children don't face a spiritual death, so that this country is forced to confront its own injustice, then I'll do that. Jesus gave this movement a spirit 2,000 years ago. Gandhi gave it a method. Today, black people in this nation will forge that spirit with that method and create a weapon of love. We will live as brothers, Malcolm, but we will most certainly perish as fools.
This ain't the country, Reverend. They stack families on top of each other out here. Black man on top of black man. Till there's no room. Till you can't breathe. And when you can't breathe, you die. Or you strike out and someone else dies. And the women? It can be a curse to be young and attractive on these streets out there. And then, Marvin, there's the drugs. You pour enough drugs into those streets, and they're liable to dream anything. They'll even believe your dreams, Doctor.
I can't change, Malcolm. I think you know that.
Everybody can change. That girl on the street changed. 3 years ago, she was 14. Today, she's...
I can't change. And neither can you.
Well, if you can't change, can you at least...